Some of the purpose of the stormwater planters is to beautify the area and to reduce flooding in Main Street. There was 11 goats today, including a Lotta who got milked, and this baby goat that was born 2 days ago that was the star of the show. Simple designs like the shade sails at Depot Park or the new trail connection into the park are just some ways community input can really improve a public space. And I'm Tessa Bentulan. Because of these spills, sewage water flows directly into the Withlacoochee River and downstream as far as the Suwannee and Santa Fe rivers. Supporters of victims can sign this pledge and take this pamphlet that has long-term support services and the local hotline to the Rape Crisis Center. How to stop dog attacks in Gainesville? That's the question facing commissioners as community members demand answers. When WUFT's Meredith Sheldon visited Parkland, she found they're hardening the school and their own resolve. Rebuild Bay County is made up of over 70 organizations, including Habitat for Humanity and Doorways of Northwest Florida. Doorways site administrator Joe Schaefer says they hope the event reminds everyone they are not forgotten.
It does give them a sense of community and that we're still all here and we're all in this together.
It's half a year later and the city is still struggling. Hurricane debris needs to be removed, residents are trying to find housing, and FEMA says it's going to take 5 to 7 years before everything gets back to normal.
That's what FEMA does. FEMA is a basic support program to get people back on the road to recovery.
Bay County Commissioner Griff Griffith says he hopes Pray for Bay will lift their spirits.
It's purgatory, somewhere between heaven and hell, I guess. We're fighting every day.
This county lost 10% of their population, but they lost so much more than that. The estimated damage assessment, the money the county will use to clean up the area, will take over $661 million. That's more than double their budget. This will go towards debris removal, protective measures, and other reparations.
While I say I'm proud of the effort we made, I know we got a long way to go.
Griffith says they have already borrowed $251 million. This money is spent by local governments and then reimbursed by FEMA later. Tessa Bentulan, WUFT News. Guilt.
Just knowing that 13 people died, and that's tough.
Something former Columbine principal Frank DeAngelis can't seem to shake.
I have all this survivor's guilt, and this is where I'm really struggling this year.
It's an unfortunate pain he's been dealing with since 2 shooters opened fire in the school 20 years ago.
And if Dave Sanders would have stayed in the faculty lounge that day, I wouldn't be sitting here. Because Dave Sanders, as a gunman was coming towards me, and I was trying to help these girls, they saw Dave Sanders out of the corner of their eye and they turned around and shot Dave. And that split second probably saved our lives. So
DeAngelis lost his best friend and 12 students.
You send your kids to school, you're the principal, you're supposed to do everything to protect your kids, and I didn't.
Since then, his work with students and to make schools safer has left behind a legacy. In 2017, a Center for Community Safety was named in his honor.
It's one of the things that Frank inspires in so many. Right? He's always there. They call, he's there.
It's a facility where local law enforcement and national agencies can train as if they were under an active shooter drill. The idea for the training center came from Jefferson County's Executive Director of Security and Emergency Management, John McDonald.
We've trained over 6,500 cops in this building from 58 agencies, and we're booking out now a year and a half in advance.
Columbine will always have a special place in DeAngelis' heart.
I watched him build back our community, and that takes someone pretty special.
He continues to give back, turning his guilt into action. DeAngelis travels the country sharing the lessons he learned from Columbine, including visiting the survivors of Parkland. Everyone knows Eddie.
Good to see you.
They say he puts the star in Stark.
He's one of those people that you almost can absorb happiness out of.
For over 30 years, Eddie Brown has been selling newspapers for the Bradford County Telegraph.
There you go. Keep the change.
He gets his share of tips. People know he's a hard worker.
5 and 2, 7.
Often holding down other jobs too.
He's very much a big part of the community in the sense that everybody admires him because he's so full of life.
Everyone speaks Eddie's language, even though he's deaf.
When you see his smile, he looks dead at you and just smiles every time he sees you.
This is Eddie's first day back on the job. Late last year, he was hit by a car and hospitalized.
Telegraph is not the local newspaper without Eddie. I mean, he is the staple for our community.
He's touched the hearts of many, especially Lisa Sims.
Lots of joy. Lots of joy, because you know, even if you're having a bad day, and I will tear, because sometimes I am, and I can see Eddie, and it makes it okay.
As he headed out to sell newspapers again, co-workers were preaching safety.
And we just want everybody to slow down on Call Street.
Despite his hardships,
thank you. It's for you. I love you.
Eddie will always be shining.
Eddie represents the Telegraph and the warm feelings that our community has for Eddie and for the paper.